Welcome to Warhammer 40k 8th edition Solo Battle Report 3, 1850 points, Chaos Demons of Khorne versus Death Guard. This will be the chapter-approved 2017 Eternal War mission Dominate and Destroy, and we will be rolling for a random map deployment today. Let's begin by taking a quick look around the board at where each of the objective markers have been placed. Beginning with this 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed down here next to this ruin. In this middle 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed right here next to this crater. In the third 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed up here next to this crater. Moving over to the other side of the board, in this 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed down here next to this crater. In this middle 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed towards the middle next to this crater. And finally, in this 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed up here next to this crater. And so now we will roll for the random map deployment, rolling a 6, which is Vanguard Strike. And so on a roll of a 1, 2, or 3, the deployment zones will be the corners with the white blocks, and on a 4, 5, or 6, the deployment zones will be the corners that do not have white blocks in them. And here's the roll. Rolling a 4. And so the deployment zones will be the 2 corners that do not have white blocks in them, so the bottom left corner and the top right. And so on a roll of a 1, 2, or 3, the Chaos Demons of Khorne will begin to deploy in the bottom left corner, and the Death Guard will begin to deploy in the top right. And on a 4, 5, or 6, it'll be the opposite, so Chaos Demons of Khorne will begin to deploy in the top right corner, and the Death Guard will begin to deploy in the bottom left. And here's the roll. Rolling a 1. So the Chaos Demons of Khorne will begin to deploy in the bottom left corner, and the Death Guard will begin to deploy in the top right corner. And now on a roll of a 1, 2, or a 3, the Chaos Demons of Khorne will begin to deploy first, and on a 4, 5, or 6, the Death Guard will begin to deploy first. And here's the roll. Rolling a 2. So the Chaos Demons of Khorne will begin to deploy first. We will be back after the deployment. The deployment is now finished. The Chaos Demons of Khorne began to deploy first. However, the Death Guard finished deploying first, which means that the Death Guard will receive a modifier of +1 to the roll-off to determine who goes first. So now let's take a quick look around the board at where each army placed all of their units. Beginning with the deployment from the Chaos Demons of Khorne, they used the stratagem Denizens of the Warp to place the Warlord, Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, in reserve. Use this stratagem during deployment. If you spent 1 command point, set up one of your demon units that has a power rating of 8 or less in the warp instead of placing it on the battlefield. If you spent 2 command points, you can choose a demon unit that has a power rating of 9 or more instead. At the end of any of your movement phases, that unit can tear its way into reality, set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. And the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage has a power rating of 17, so this stratagem will cost the Chaos Demons of Khorne 2 command points. And so now for the units from the Chaos Demon of Khorne army that were deployed on the battlefield, going from left to right from their own perspective, we have the first Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, Skull Cannon number 1, the first squad of 10 Bloodletters, Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster number 2, the squad of 5 Blood Crushers, Skull Cannon number 2, Skull Cannon number 3, the first Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings, the second squad of 10 Bloodletters, Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings number 2, and finally the third squad of 10 Bloodletters. This squad has the instrument. The Chaos Demons of Khorne are also going to use the stratagem Banner of Blood for 1 command point. Use this stratagem before the battle. Choose one of your Khorne models with a demonic icon. That icon is upgraded to a Banner of Blood. In addition to its normal ability, the power of the bearer can be used once per battle, just before the bearer's unit declares a charge. When used, the bearer's unit can charge 3d6 instead of 2d6. And this will be used on the squad of 5 Blood Crushers. Now moving over to the Death Guard deployment, also going from left to right from their own perspective, we have the Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings, the first squad of 10 Poxwalkers, the Chaos Land Raider with the squad of 7 Plague Marines, the Malignant Plague Caster, and the Lord of Contagion embarked inside, Fetid Bloat Drone number 1, the second squad of 10 Poxwalkers, Plague Burst Crawler number 1, the Warlord Demon Prince and Nurgle, Plague Burst Crawler number 2, Fetid Bloat Drone number 2, and Fetid Bloat Drone number 3. For this battle report, the Chaos Demons of Khorne will have 9 command points. However, since they used 2 stratagems, for a total of 3 command points during deployment and before the battle started, the Chaos Demons of Khorne will go down from 9 command points to 6. And the Death Guard will have 10 command points available. For a full overview of both armies with all of the war gear that they are bringing, please check out the pregame show. The link for the pregame show will be in the description down below. And so now we will roll off to determine who will go first. The Death Guard will be the gold and blue dice, and because they finished their deployment first, they will get to add 1 to this roll. The Chaos Demons of Khorne will be the white dice. And here's the roll. Chaos Demons of Khorne get a 2, Death Guard get a 1, adding 1, which also equals 2. So we have a tie, and we'll roll a second time. And here's the roll. Now the Chaos Demons of Khorne get a 4, and the Death Guard get a 5, adding 1 for a total of 6. So the Death Guard will go first. And so now the Chaos Demons of Khorne will attempt to seize the initiative on a 6, and they fail by rolling a 1. So let's go into Death Guard turn 1. Going into Death Guard turn 1, a reminder that the Death Guard have 10 command points available, and the Chaos Demons of Khorne have 6 command points available. Going into the movement phase, this Plague Burst Crawler will remain still. The second Plague Burst Crawler will also remain still. The squad of 10 Poxwalkers controlling this objective marker will remain still. This Fetid Bloat Drone will move up to 10 inches and will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll, rolling 1 additional inch. So the Fetid Bloat Drone will move up to 11 inches total. This Fetid Bloat Drone will move up to 10 inches and will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll, rolling 5 additional inches. So this Fetid Bloat Drone will move up to 15 inches total. The Chaos Land Raider will move up to 10 inches. The Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings will move up to 12 inches. The third Fetid Bloat Drone will move up to 10 inches and will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll, rolling 3 additional inches. So the Fetid Bloat Drone will move up to 13 inches total. This squad of 10 Poxwalkers will move up to 4 inches and will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll, rolling 1 additional inch. So the squad of 10 Poxwalkers will move up to 5 inches total. Finally, the Warlord Demon Prince and Nurgle will remain still. Going into the Psychic phase, the Warlord Demon Prince and Nurgle will attempt to manifest Miasma of Pestilence onto this Fetid Bloat Drone. And Miasma of Pestilence has a warp charge value of 6, and it will fail with a 4. Finally, this Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings will attempt to manifest Smite onto this squad of 10 Bloodletters. And Smite has a warp charge value of 5, and it will pass with a 9. So it will cause D3 mortal wounds, and it will cause 3 mortal wounds. So 3 Bloodletters will go down, leaving 7 left alive in the squad. Going into the shooting phase, the Chaos Land Raider will fire its Twin Heavy Bolter and the bolt gun portion from its Combi Flamer at full range into this squad of 7 Bloodletters, and it will fire its 2 Twin Last Cannons into this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster. Beginning with the bolt gun portion of the Combi Flamer, 1 shot, hitting on a 3 rerolling 1s, getting a hit. Strength 4 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on a 3, and it fails to wound. Now for the Twin Heavy Bolter, 6 shots, hitting on 3s rerolling 1s, getting 4 hits and 2 rerolls. And here's the rerolls. Getting 1 additional hit for 5 hits total. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, and that's awful. Getting 2 wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 2 5-up invulnerable saves, and passing both. Now for the 2 Twin Last Cannons into the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, 4 shots total, hitting on 3s rerolling 1s, getting 3 hits. Strength 9 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, getting all 3 wounds. Minus 3 AP, so 3 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 2, failing 1. So the Chaos Demons of Khorne will use 1 command point, going from 6 down to 5, for a command reroll to reroll the 3. And here's the reroll, and it will still fail. So 1 shot will go through, and it will do D6 damage, and it will do 2 damage. So the Death Guard are going to use 1 command point, going from 10 down to 9, for a command reroll to reroll the number of damage. And here's the reroll, fail, still getting a 2. So this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will fall from 16 starting wounds down to 14. This Plague Burst Crawler will fire its Plague Burst Mortar and its Heavy Slugger into this squad of 7 Bloodletters. Starting with the Heavy Slugger, 4 shots, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, getting 2 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, getting 2 wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 2 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 1 and failing 1. So 1 more Bloodletter will go down, leaving 6 left alive in the squad. And now for the Plague Burst Mortar, D6 shots, getting 4 shots, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, and that's pretty terrible. Getting 1 hit, 1 reroll, and here's the reroll, getting a second hit. Strength 8 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 2s, rerolling, getting a wound and a reroll, and here's the reroll. Still failing to wound, so 1 wound total. Minus 2 AP, so 1 5-up invulnerable save, which fails. So 1 more Bloodletter will go down, leaving 5 left alive in the squad. Now the second Plague Burst Crawler will fire its Heavy Slugger and its Plague Burst Mortar into this squad of 5 Bloodletters. Starting with the Heavy Slugger, 4 shots, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, and that's awful. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on a 3, and it wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 1 5-up invulnerable save, which fails. So 1 more Bloodletter will go down, leaving 4 left alive in the squad. Finally, the Plague Burst Mortar will fire D6 shots, getting 5 shots, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, getting 3 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 2s, rerolling, getting 3 wounds. Minus 2 AP, so 3 5-up invulnerable saves, and passing all 3. Going into the Assault phase, there are no charges to declare, which means going into the Fight phase, there are no fights to resolve. However, going into the Morale phase, this squad of Bloodletters lost 6 models this turn, and they have a leadership of 7, so they could fail on a 2-up. And so the Chaos Demons of Khorne are going to use the stratagem Insane Bravery for 2 command points, bring them from 5 down to 3. You can automatically pass a single morale test. This stratagem must be used before taking the test. And so no further Bloodletters will be lost. At the end of the turn, the Death Guard are currently controlling 3 objective markers, which means they will gain 3 victory points. And so at the end of Death Guard turn 1, the score currently sits at 3 victory points for the Death Guard and 0 victory points for the Chaos Demons of Khorne. Going into Chaos Demons of Khorne turn 1, a reminder that the Chaos Demons of Khorne have 3 command points available, and the Death Guard have 9 command points available. Going into the movement phase, this Demon Prince of Khorne with wings will move up to 12 inches. The squad of 5 Blood Crushers will move up to 8 inches. This squad of 10 Bloodletters will move up to 6 inches. This squad of 4 Bloodletters will move up to 6 inches and will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll, rolling 4 additional inches, adding 1 thanks to the instrument. So this squad of 4 Bloodletters will move up to 11 inches total. This Demon Prince of Khorne with wings will move up to 12 inches and will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll, rolling 3 additional inches. So the Demon Prince of Khorne with wings will move up to 15 inches total. This Skull Cannon will remain still. This Skull Cannon will remain still. The third Skull Cannon will remain still. This Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster that is down to 14 wounds will move up to 12 inches. The second Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will move up to 12 inches. Finally, this squad of 10 Bloodletters will move up to 6 inches. Going into the Psychic phase, the Chaos Demons of Khorne have no Psychers. So going into the Shooting phase, this Skull Cannon will fire its Skull Cannon into this Fetid Blow Drone. D6 shots, getting 3 shots, hitting on 3s, getting only 1 hit. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on a 3, and it fails to wound. So now this Skull Cannon will fire its Skull Cannon into this Fetid Blow Drone. D6 shots, getting 5 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 3 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s. All fail to wound. That's just terrible. Finally, the third Skull Cannon will fire its Skull Cannon into this Fetid Bloat Drone. D6 shots, getting 4 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, getting 2 wounds. Minus 2 AP, so 2 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 1 and failing 1. And it is D3 damage, and it will do 1 damage, so 1 5-up disgustingly resilient roll, which fails. So this Fetid Bloat Drone will fall from 10 starting wounds down to 9. This Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will fire its Blood Flail and Hellfire into this Fetid Bloat Drone. Beginning with the Blood Flail, one shot, hitting on a 2, and it hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on a 3. And it fails to wound. So finally, D6 shots from the Hellfire, getting 6 shots. This weapon automatically hits, so 6 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 5s, getting 3 wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 3 4-up armor saves. Passing 1, failing 2. And they are 1 damage piece, so 2 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls. Passing 1 and failing 1. So this Fetid Bloat Drone will fall from 9 wounds down to 8. Finally, this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, which is down to 14 wounds, will fire its Blood Flail and Hellfire into the fully healthy Fetid Bloat Drone because the wounded one is just slightly too far away. Beginning with the Blood Flail, one shot, hitting on a 2, and it hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on a 3, and it fails to wound. Now for D6 shots from Hellfire, getting 1 shot. This weapon automatically hits, so 1 hit. Strength 5 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on a 5, and it fails to wound. Going into the assault phase, there are multiple charges to declare, beginning with this Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings, declaring a charge solely against this Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings. This squad of 5 Blood Crushers will declare a charge solely into this Fetid Bloat Drone. This Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will declare a charge solely into the fully healthy Fetid Bloat Drone. And finally, the second Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will declare a multi-charge into both Fetid Bloat Drones, with the primary target being the fully healthy Fetid Bloat Drone. And the Chaos Demons of Khorne will begin with this Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings. No Overwatch from the Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings, so here's the charge range, rolling 7 inches, and 7 inches is more than enough to make it in. And now for the charge from the squad of 5 Blood Crushers. And the Blood Crushers will use their once per game ability thanks to the stratagem Banner of Blood, so they will get to roll 3d6 instead of 2d6. And that was really good, giving them 15 inches of charge, plus 1 thanks to the instrument for 16 inches of charge total. And so even after subtracting 2 inches for charging through a crater, a 14-inch charge is more than enough to make it in. Now for the charge from the wounded Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster into the fully healthy Fetid Bloat Drone. Once again, no Overwatch, so here's the charge range, rolling 5 inches. And a 5-inch charge is more than enough to make it in. Finally, the multi-charge from the fully healthy Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster into the 2 Fetid Bloat Drones. And here's the charge range, rolling 6 inches. And unfortunately, since he is charging through the crater, a 6-inch charge is not enough to make it in. The Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster needs to roll at least a 7 in order to get a 5-inch charge to make it within an inch of the fully healthy Fetid Bloat Drone. Therefore, the Chaos Demons of Khorne are going to use 1 command point going from 3 down to 2 for a command reroll to reroll the 2. Because if they used Locus of Rage, they would have to re-roll both dice. And so here's the re-roll, and unfortunately rolling a 1, so that will still be a failed charge. Going into the fight phase, the Chaos Demons of Khorne will begin with the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings, who will place all of his attacks onto the Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings. 9 attacks base with the 2 sets of Malefic Talons on the charge, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s, getting 7 hits and 2 rerolls. And here's the 2 rerolls, getting an 8th hit. Strength 8 on the charge versus Toughness 6 means wounding on 3s, getting 6 wounds, minus 2 AP, so 6 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 2, failing 4, and they are 2 damage piece. So 8 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls, passing 6, failing only 2. So the Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings will fall from 8 starting wounds down to 6. And now the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings will consolidate up to 3 inches. And he is now within an inch and therefore locked in combat with the Chaos Land Raider. The Death Guard are going to use the stratagem Counter-Offensive for 2 command points, bring them from 9 down to 7. This stratagem is used right after an enemy unit that charges fought. Select one of your own eligible units and fight with it next. And this will be used on this Fetid Bloat Drone, who is locked in combat with the squad of 5 Blood Crushers. And so first he will pile in up to 3 inches. 9 attacks with the Flesh Mower against the Blood Crushers, hitting on 4s. No rerolls because he's over 6 inches away from the Demon Prince and Nurgle with wings. Getting 6 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 2s rerolling, getting 4 wounds, 2 rerolls. And here's the rerolls. Getting all 6 wounds, minus 2 AP, so 6, 5 up and vulnerable saves. Passing 1, but failing 5, and they are 2 damage apiece. So the 2 regular Blood Crushers with no upgrades will lose their 4 starting wounds apiece and be killed off, leaving 3 left alive in the squad, and then the instrument will fall from 4 starting wounds down to 2. Now moving back over to charging units, this squad of Blood Crushers will pile in against the Fetid Bloat Drone. 13 attacks with their Hellblades on the charge, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 9 hits and 3 rerolls. And here's the rerolls. Getting 2 additional hits for 11 hits total. Strength 6 on the charge versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 5s. Getting 5 wounds. And there was 1 wound roll of a 6, which does 2 damage instead of 1. So beginning with the wound roll of a 6, minus 3 AP, so 1 5 up and vulnerable save, which passes. And then for regular wounds, minus 3 AP, so 4 5 up and vulnerable saves. Passing 1, failing 3, and they are 1 damage piece. So 3 5 up disgustingly resilient rolls. Passing 1, failing 2. So the Fetid Bloat Drone will fall from 10 starting wounds down to 8. And now for 9 attacks from the Juggernaut's Bladed Horn, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 6 hits and 2 rerolls. And here's the rerolls, getting 2 additional hits for 8 hits total. Strength 7, thanks to charging, versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 4s. Getting 4 wounds, minus 1 AP, so 4 4-up armor saves. Passing 3, failing 1, and it is 1 damage. So 1 5-up disgustingly resilient roll, which passes. Finally, from the Chaos Demons of Khorne, this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 14 wounds, will place all of its attacks onto the fully healthy Fetid Bloat Drone. 7 attacks on the charge with the Axe of Khorne, hitting on 2s. Getting 6 hits, but each unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores 2 hits instead of 1. So actually getting 8 hits. Strength 11 on the charge versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s. Getting 5 wounds, minus 4 AP, so 5 up and vulnerable saves, passing 1, failing 4, and they are d6 damage apiece. So 4 d6 damage, getting 14 damage. So the Chaos Demons of Khorne are going to use 1 command point going from 2 down to 1 for a command reroll to reroll the 2. And here's the reroll, now getting a 4 instead of a 2 for a total of 16 damage. So 16 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls, passing 4, failing 12. So does the Fetid Bloat Drone explode on a 4-up? And it will, thanks to Putrid Explosion, and each unit within 7 inches suffers 1 mortal wound. So this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will suffer 1 mortal wound and fall from 14 wounds down to 13. This Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will suffer 1 mortal wound and fall from 16 starting wounds down to 15. And then finally, this Fetid Bloat Drone will suffer 1 mortal wound but will get to take a disgustingly resilient roll. So 1 5-up disgustingly resilient roll, which passes. And so now this Fetid Bloat Drone will lose its 10 starting wounds and be killed off. And that is first blood. And so now the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will consolidate up to 3 inches. The Demon Prince of Nurgle with wings will now get a chance to strike back against the Demon Prince of Khorne with wings. 7 attacks base with the 2 sets of Malefic Talons, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s thanks to himself, getting 5 hits and 2 rerolls. And here's the rerolls. Getting all 7 hits. Strength 7 versus Toughness 6 means wounding on 3s. Getting 5 wounds and 2 fails, but the Death Guard are going to use 1 command point going from 7 down to 6 for a command reroll to reroll 1 of the 2s. And here's the reroll. Now getting a 6th wound. Minus 2 AP, so 6 5-up and vulnerable saves. Passing 3 and failing 3, and they are 2 damage apiece. And so the Demon Prince of Khorne with wings will fall from 8 starting wounds down to 2. And I just realized that we need to make a correction, and it's going to be an incredibly important one, and that is, I had forgotten that I had given the separating plate to the Demon Prince of Nurgle with wings, which means that the Demon Prince has a 2-up armor save instead of a 3-up, which means it should have had a 4-up armor save against the Demon Prince of Khorne's attacks instead of a 5-up invuln. And I went back and looked at the footage, advantage, and he actually passed 5 of the 6 attacks thanks to the 4-up armor save instead of only 2, meaning he only should have taken 2 disgustingly resilient rolls instead of 8. Now luckily, he had only failed 2 of the disgustingly resilient rolls, so not much will change, but we will go and correct that. So 2 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls, and passing both. So perhaps this is a big deal because the Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings will go back up from 6 wounds to a full starting 8 wounds, and he is now fully healthy once again. Thanks to this upgrading plate, however, we also have to see if wounds are reflected back onto the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings. So thanks to making 5 4-up armor saves, we will roll 5 dice looking for 4-ups, getting 3. So 3 mortal wounds will be inflicted onto the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings. So the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings will lose its final 2 wounds and be killed off. And because the reflected wounds from the separating plate technically should have happened before the Demon Prince and Nurgle's attacks, that would mean that the Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings would have killed off the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings in the fight phase, and therefore the Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings will get to consolidate up to 3 inches. And finally, now that the Chaos Land Raider is no longer locked in combat, it will not be able to do anything this fight phase. Going into the morale phase, this squad of Blood Crushers lost 2 models this turn. They have leadership 7, so they could fail on a 6. And here's their morale check roll. And they roll a 5, so they pass and nothing happens.
At the end of the turn, the Chaos Demons of Khorne are currently controlling 3 objective markers. Therefore, the Chaos Demons of Khorne will score 3 victory points this turn. And so at the end of Chaos Demons of Khorne turn 1, the score currently sits at 4 victory points for the Chaos Demons of Khorne thanks to First Blood, and 3 victory points for the Death Guard. Going into Death Guard turn 2, a reminder that the Death Guard have 6 command points available, and the Chaos Demons of Khorne have 1 command point available.
Going into the movement phase, this fetid bloat drone that is down to 8 wounds will move up to 10 inches. This Plague Burst Crawler will move up to 9 inches. The Warlord Demon Prince and Nurgle will remain still. The second Plague Burst Crawler will remain still. This squad of 10 Poxwalkers controlling this objective marker will remain still. This fetid bloat drone, which is down to 8 wounds, will remain locked in combat with the squad of 3 Blood Crushers. The Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings will move up to 12 inches. The Lord of Contagion, Malignant Plague Caster, and squad of 7 Plague Marines will all disembark from the Chaos Land Raider out the side. The Chaos Land Raider will move up to 10 inches. The Lord of Contagion will move up to 4 inches. The Malignant Plague Caster will move up to 5 inches. The squad of 7 Plague Marines will move up to 5 inches. Finally, this squad of 10 Poxwalkers will move up to 4 inches and will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll, rolling 5 additional inches. So this squad of 10 Poxwalkers will move up to 9 inches total. Going into the Psychic phase, the Malignant Plaguecaster will attempt to manifest both Putrescent Vitality and Blades of Putrefaction onto the Lord of Contagion. Beginning with Putrescent Vitality, which has a warp charge value of 6, and it will fail with a 3. So the Death Guard will use 1 command point going from 6 down to 5 for a command reroll to reroll the 1. And here's the reroll. And now it will pass with a 7, so it will go off, which will also activate Pestilential Fallout. And so the nearest enemy unit will suffer a mortal wound, which is the squad of Blood Crushers, so the wounded Blood Crusher with an instrument will fall from 2 wounds down to 1 left. And now for Blades of Putrefaction, which has a warp charge value of 5, and that will fail with a 4. The Warlord Demon Prince of Nurgle will attempt to manifest Smite onto this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, which is down to 13 wounds. And Smite has a warp charge value of 5. And it will pass with a 9. So it will cause D3 mortal wounds, and it will cause 1 mortal wound. So the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will fall from 13 wounds down to 12. Finally, this Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings will attempt to manifest Smite onto the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings. And Smite now has a warp charge value of 6, and it will fail with a 5.
Going into the shooting phase, the Death Guard are going to use the stratagem Nurgle's Rot for 3 command points, bring them from 5 down to 2. This stratagem can be used once per battle in the shooting phase. Select a friendly Death Guard character and roll a d6 for every unit within 7 inches of them. On a 4-up, the unit being rolled for suffers d3 mortal wounds. Nurgle models cannot suffer wounds from Nurgle's Rot. In fact, they find it rather refreshing. And this stratagem will be used on the Demon Prince and Nurgle with wings. It will affect both squads of Bloodletters, the Demon Prince of Khorne with wings, and the squad of Blood Crushers. Beginning with the squad of 4 Bloodletters, rolling a die looking for a 4-up, which will fail. Now for the squad of Blood Crushers, rolling a die looking for a 4-up, which will fail. Now for the squad of 10 Bloodletters, rolling a die looking for a 4-up, which will fail. And now for the Demon Prince of Khorne with wings, rolling a die looking for a 4-up, which will pass. And it will suffer d3 mortal wounds, and it will suffer 2 mortal wounds. So the Demon Prince of Khorne with wings will fall from 8 starting wounds down to 6. This Malignant Plaguecaster will fire a bolt pistol into this squad of 4 Bloodletters. One shot hitting on a 3, and it fails to hit. This Plagueburst Crawler will fire its 2 Plague Spitters into the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster that is down to 12 wounds, and it will fire its Heavy Slugger and its Plagueburst Mortar into this squad of 4 Bloodletters. Beginning with the Heavy Slugger, 4 shots hitting on 5s thanks to moving, rerolling 1s thanks to the Demon Prince, all failed hit getting 1 reroll. And here's the reroll, still failing to hit. Now for the Plagueburst Mortar, d6 shots, getting 4 shots, hitting on 5s, rerolling 1s, all fail to hit, getting 2 rerolls, and here's the rerolls, getting 2 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 2s, rerolling, getting 2 wounds, minus 2 AP, so 2 5-up invulnerable saves. Passing 1 and failing 1. So 1 Bloodletter will go down, leaving 3 left alive in the squad. Now for the 2 Plague Spitters, d6 shots apiece for 2 d6 shots total, getting 8 shots. This weapon automatically hits, so 8 hits. Strength 7 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 4s, re-rolling, thanks to being a plague weapon, and the Warlord trait Arch Contaminator from the Warlord Demon Prince and Nurgle. So getting 4 wounds, 4 re-rolls. And here's the re-rolls. Getting 2 additional wounds for 6 wounds total. Minus 1 AP, so 6 4-up armor saves. Passing 3 and failing 3. So the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will fall from 12 wounds down to 9. The Chaos Land Raider will fire the bolt gun portion of its Combi Flamer and its twin Heavy Bolter into this squad of 3 Bloodletters, and then it will fire its 2 twin Last Cannons into this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster who is down to 9 wounds. Beginning with the bolt gun portion from the Combi Flamer, 1 shot, hitting on a 3, and it fails to hit. 6 shots from the twin Heavy Bolter into the squad of 3 Bloodletters, hitting on 3s, getting 3 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, and that's terrible. Getting 1 wound. Minus 1 AP, so 1 5-up invulnerable save, which fails. So 1 Bloodletter will go down, leaving 2 left alive in the squad. Finally, the 2 twin Last Cannons, 4 shots total into the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, hitting on 3s. Getting only 2 hits. Strength 9 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s. Getting a fail and a cocked dice. So here's the reroll of the cocked dice. Still failing to wound. This Plagueburst Crawler will fire its Heavy Slugger into this squad of 10 Bloodletters, and then it will fire its Plagueburst Mortar into the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster who's down to 9 wounds. Beginning with 4 shots from the Heavy Slugger, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, getting all 4 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s. Getting 2 wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 2 5-up invulnerable saves, failing both. So 2 Bloodletters will go down, leaving 8 left alive in the squad. Finally, the Plagueburst Mortar, d6 shots, getting 4 shots, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, getting 1 hit and 2 rerolls, and here's the rerolls, getting 1 additional hit for 2 hits total. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, rerolling thanks to Arch Contaminator and being a plague weapon, getting 2 wounds. Minus 2 AP, so 2 5-up invulnerable saves, passing both. Finally, this squad of 7 Plague Marines will fire 2 bolt guns in rapid fire range and 3 plasma guns with standard shots in rapid fire range into this squad of 2 Bloodletters. Beginning with the 6 plasma gun shots firing standard shots, they can be fired all together. 6 shots total, hitting on 3s. No rerolls because they're over 6 inches away from the Demon Prince. Getting 4 hits. Strength 7 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 2s. Getting all 4 wounds. Minus 3 AP, so 4 5-up invulnerable saves. Passing 2 and failing 2. So the Bloodletter with the instrument and the Blood Reaper will be killed off and removed. And that squad is wiped out. And so the 2 bolt guns will go to waste.
Going into the assault phase, there are 5 charges to declare, beginning with the squad of 7 Plague Marines declaring a charge solely against the squad of 3 Blood Crushers. The Malignant Plaguecaster will declare a charge solely against the squad of 3 Blood Crushers. The Lord of Contagion will declare a charge solely against the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings. The Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings will declare a multi-charge against the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings and the squad of 8 Bloodletters, with the primary target being the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings. And finally, this Fetid Bloat Drone, who is down to 8 wounds, will declare a charge solely into the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 9 wounds. And the Death Guard will begin with this Fetid Bloat Drone. And the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will Overwatch, beginning with the Blood Flail. 1 shot, hitting on a 6, and it fails to hit. And now for Hellfire, which will do D6 shots, getting 1 shot. This weapon automatically hits, so 1 hit. Strength 5 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on a 5, and it wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 1 4-up armor save, which fails. And it is 1 damage, so 1 5-up Disgustingly Resilient roll, which also fails. So the Fetid Bloat Drone will fall from 8 wounds down to 7. And now for the charge range, rolling 5 inches. And a 5-inch charge is more than enough to make it in. The second charge will be from the Lord of Contagion into the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings, who's down to 6 wounds. No Overwatch, so here's the charge range, rolling 4 inches. And so the Death Guard are going to use 1 command point, going from 2 down to 1, for a command reroll to reroll the 1. And here's the reroll, now getting 7 inches. And so even after subtracting 2 inches for charging through a crater, a 5-inch charge is more than enough to make it in. The Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings will now make its multi-charge. Once again, no Overwatch, so here's the charge range, rolling 6 inches. And so even after subtracting 2 inches for charging through a crater, a 4-inch charge is more than enough to make it in. And of course, as I was moving the Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings, the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings fell over onto the Bloodletters, knocking a bunch of them over. So I tried to put everyone back where they were, but their position might have changed slightly. Now the squad of Plague Marines will make its charge. And here's the charge range, rolling 9 inches. And so even after subtracting 2 inches for charging through a crater, a 7-inch charge is more than enough to make it in. Finally, for the 5th and final charge, the Malignant Plaguecaster will make its charge. And here's the charge range, rolling 8 inches. And an 8-inch charge is more than enough to make it in. Going into the fight phase, the Death Guard will begin with the Lord of Contagion, placing all its attacks onto the Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings. And the Death Guard will use the stratagem Veterans of the Long War for 1 command point, bring them from 1 down to 0. You can use this stratagem when a Death Guard infantry unit is selected to attack in a shooting or fight phase. You can add 1 to all wound rolls made for the unit until the end of the phase, and this will be used on the Lord of Contagion. 4 attacks base with the Plague Reaper, hitting on 2s, re-rolling, getting all 4 hits. Strength 7 thanks to Putrescent Vitality versus Toughness 6, means wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s, but adding 1 to wound rolls thanks to the stratagem, so actually wounding on 2s, getting 3 wounds and 1 reroll. And here's the reroll, getting a 4th wound. Minus 3 AP, so 4 5-up invulnerable saves. Passing 1, failing 3, and they are 3 damage piece. So this Demon Prince of Khorne with Wings will lose its final 6 wounds and be killed off. And the Lord of Contagion will not consolidate. The Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings will place all of its attacks on the squad of 8 Bloodletters. 7 attacks base with the 2 sets of Malefic Talons, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s, thanks to itself, getting 5 hits and 2 re-rolls. And here's the re-rolls, getting all 7 hits. Strength 7 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 2s, getting all 7 wounds. Minus 2 AP, so 7 5-up invulnerable saves. Passing 1, but failing 6. So 6 Bloodletters will go down, leaving 2 left alive in the squad. The squad of 7 Plague Marines will place all of their attacks onto the squad of 3 Blood Crushers, beginning with the 2 regular Plague Marines armed with bolt guns and the 2 regular Plague Marines armed with plasma guns, using their Plague Knives, 1 attack piece for 4 attacks total, hitting on 3s, getting 3 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s, and getting all 3 wounds. No AP, so 3 4-up armor saves, passing 2, failing 1. And it is 1 damage. So the Blood Crusher armed with an instrument will lose its last wound and be killed off, leaving 2 left alive in the squad. Now for the 2 regular Plague Marines armed with Flails of Corruption, 1 attack apiece, but thanks to the Flails of Corruption they get to make D3 attacks per base attack for a total of 3 attacks total, hitting on 3s,
getting all 3 hits. Strength 6 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 1 reroll, and here's the reroll, getting a wound, minus 2 AP, so 1 5-up invulnerable save, which passes. Finally, the Plague Champion will attack with his Power Fist, 2 attacks base, hitting on 4s, getting 2 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 2s, getting 2 wounds, minus 3 AP, so 2 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 1 and failing 1. And it is D3 damage, and it will do 1 damage. So the Blood Hunter will fall from 4 starting wounds down to 3. Next, the Malignant Plaguecaster will place all of its attacks onto the squad of 2 Blood Crushers. 3 attacks base with the Corrupted Staff, hitting on 3s, no rerolls, getting 2 hits. Strength 6 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s, getting 2 wounds, minus 1 AP, so 2 5-up invulnerable saves, failing both. And they are D3 damage apiece, but the damage does not carry over from model to model, and therefore we need to resolve this separately. So strike number 1, D3 damage, will do 2 damage, which means that strike number 2 will simply finish off the wounded Blood Hunter and would have done 2 damage. So the Blood Hunter will suffer 4 damage total and will lose its final 3 wounds and be killed off, leaving just the demonic icon left alive in the squad. Finally, from the charging units, this wounded fetid bloat drone will place all its attacks onto the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 9 wounds. 9 attacks base with the Flesh Mower, hitting on 4s, getting 6 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 5 wounds, minus 2 AP, so 5 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 1 but failing 4. And they are 2 damage apiece. So this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will fall from 9 wounds down to 1 left. And finally, resolving units that did not charge, beginning with the Death Guard since it is their turn. This fetid bloat drone, who's down to 8 wounds, will place all its attacks onto the lone Blood Crusher with demonic icon. 9 attacks base with the Flesh Mower, hitting on 4s, getting a very nice roll of 7 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s. Not that it mattered, getting all 7 wounds. Minus 2 AP, so 7 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 2, failing 5. They are 2 damage apiece. So this lone Blood Crusher with demonic icon will lose its 4 starting wounds and be killed off. And that squad is wiped out. And the fetid bloat drone will now consolidate up to 3 inches. And of course, one of the Plague Marines was very wobbly on the side of the crater and was using the fetid bloat drone in order to stand up, so it will be placed on its side until it is time for it to move again. And now the Chaos Demons of Khorne will get to strike back, beginning with this squad of 2 Bloodletters, placing all of their attacks onto the Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings. 5 attacks thanks to being charged with their Hellblades, hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Strength 5 thanks to being charged versus Toughness 6 means wounding on 5s and failing to wound. Finally, the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 1 wound, will place all of its attacks onto the fetid bloat drone, who's down to 7 wounds. 3 attacks with the Axe of Khorne, thanks to being charged and thanks to being down to 1 wound, hitting on 2s. And that's awful. Getting 1 hit. Strength 11, thanks to being charged versus Toughness 7, means wounding on a 3, and it wounds. Minus 4 AP, so 1 5-up invulnerable save, which fails, and it will do D6 damage, and it will do 5 damage. So 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls. Passing 2, failing 3. So the fetid bloat drone will fall from 7 wounds down to 4. Going into the morale phase, this squad of Bloodletters lost 8 models this turn. They have a leadership of 7, which means that they will automatically fail, because even a roll of a 1 would mean they would lose by 2. And the Chaos Demons of Khorne only have 1 command point, so they cannot use Insane Bravery. So the final 2 Bloodletters are killed off and removed. And that squad is wiped out. At the end of the turn, the Death Guard are currently controlling 4 objective markers, and therefore they will gain 4 victory points. And so at the end of Death Guard turn 2, the score currently sits at 7 victory points for the Death Guard and 4 victory points for the Chaos Demons of Khorne. Going into Chaos Demons of Khorne turn 2, a reminder that the Chaos Demons of Khorne have 1 command point available, and the Death Guard have 0 command points available. Going into the movement phase, this Skull Cannon will remain still. This Skull Cannon will remain still. The third Skull Cannon will remain still. This squad of 10 Bloodletters controlling the objective marker will remain still. This Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 1 wound, will remain locked in combat with the fetid bloat drone. Finally, this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 15 wounds, will move up to 12 inches. At the end of the movement phase, the Warlord, Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage will tear its way into reality. And the Warlord, Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage will arrive on the battlefield right here, over 9 inches away from any enemy models. Going into the Psychic phase, the Chaos Demons of Khorne have no Psychers. So going into the shooting phase, this Skull Cannon will fire its Skull Cannon into this Fetid Bloat Drone that is down to 8 wounds. D6 shots, getting 6 shots, hitting on 3s, and that's awful, getting 2 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, getting 1 wound, minus 2 AP, so 1 5-up invulnerable save, which fails. And it is D3 damage, and it will do 2 damage, so 2 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls, failing both. So this Fetid Bloat Drone will fall from 8 wounds down to 6. This Skull Cannon will fire its Skull Cannon into the Fetid Bloat Drone that is down to 6 wounds. D6 shots, getting 5 shots, hitting on 3s, getting all 5 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, getting 4 wounds, minus 2 AP, so 4 5-up invulnerable saves. Passing 2 and failing 2. And they are a D3 damage piece, and that is 5 damage. So 5 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls. Passing 2, failing 3. So this Fetid Bloat Drone will fall from 6 wounds down to 3. This Skull Cannon will fire its Skull Cannon into the Fetid Bloat Drone that is down to 3 wounds. D6 shots, getting 6 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 5 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, getting 3 wounds, minus 2 AP, so 3 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 1, failing 2, and they are a D3 damage piece, and that is 3 damage, so 3 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls, passing 1, failing 2. So the Fetid Bloat Drone will fall from 3 wounds down to 1. The Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster that has 15 wounds left will fire its Blood Flail into the Fetid Bloat Drone that's down to 4 wounds, and it will fire its Hellfire into this Plague Burst Crawler. Beginning with the Blood Flail, 1 shot, hitting on a 2, which hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on a 3, and it wounds. Minus 3 AP, so 1 5-up invulnerable save, which fails. And it is 3 damage, so 3 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls, failing all 3. So this Fetid Bloat Drone will fall from 4 wounds down to 1 left. Now for Hellfire, D6 shots, getting 2 shots. This weapon automatically hits, so 2 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 5s, getting 2 wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 2 4-up armor saves, failing both. 1 damage piece, so 2 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls, passing 1 and failing 1. So this Plague Burst Crawler will fall from 12 starting wounds down to 11. Finally, the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 1 wound, will fire his Blood Flail into the Fetid Bloat Drone that he's locked in combat with, who's also down to 1 wound. 1 shot, hitting on a 6 thanks to being down to 1 wound, failing to hit. Going into the Assault phase, there are 2 charges to declare. First will be the Warlord, Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, declaring a charge solely into the Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings. And the second charge will be from this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 15 wounds, declaring a charge solely into the Fetid Bloat Drone, who's down to 1 wound. And the Chaos Demons of Khorne will begin with the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Insensate Rage. No Overwatch, so here's the charge range. Rolling 7 inches, which will not be enough because he's just over 9 inches away. However, the Chaos Demons of Khorne are going to use their last command point, going from 1 down to 0, for a command reroll to reroll to 2, because if they were to use Locus of Rage, they would have to reroll both dice, and they want to keep the 5. And here's the reroll, now getting a 9, and the 9-inch charge is just enough to make it within an inch, because the Warlord, Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage does not have to charge through a crater. Finally, the charge from this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 15 wounds. And here's the charge range, rolling 12 inches. And a 12-inch charge is more than enough to make an end. Going into the fight phase, the Chaos Demons of Khorne will begin with the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, who will place all of his attacks onto the Demon Prince of Nurgle with Wings. And the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage will use the Mighty Strike profile from his Great Axe of Khorne, so 7 attacks on the charge, hitting on 2s. Getting all 7 hits, but no 6s for additional hits. Strength 16 on the charge, thanks to the Warlord trait, Immense Power, versus Toughness 6, means wounding on 2s. Getting all 7 wounds. Minus 4 AP, so 7 5-up invulnerable saves. Passing 1 but failing 6. And they are D6 damage apiece, but because he's using the Mighty Strike profile, we get to roll 2d6 and take away the lowest for the damage result. So these all have to be rolled separately. Strike number 1 will do d6 damage, and it will will do 6 damage. Strike number 2 will do d6 damage, and will do 6 damage. Strike number 3 will do d6 damage, and will do 6 damage. Strike number 4 will do d6 damage, and will do 4 damage. Strike number 5 will do d6 damage, and will do 6 damage. And finally, strike number 6 will do d6 damage. So that will be a total of 32 damage. So 32 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls. And one of the dice did fall out of the dice tray, so we will re-roll that in just a moment. However, from the 31 dice that made it into the tray, the Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings failed 11 and passed 20 of the 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls. But the Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings only has 8 wounds, so that's more than enough to kill him, and therefore we won't bother re-rolling the 1 dice that fell out of the tray. So this Demon Prince and Nurgle with Wings will lose its 8 starting wounds and be killed off. And the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Insensate Rage will not consolidate. However, thanks to the separating plate, there was 1 save that was passed, and therefore could be reflected back. So we will roll a die, and on a 4-up, it will be reflected, and it will. So 1 mortal wound will go back onto the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Insensate Rage. And so the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Insensate Rage will fall from 16 starting wounds down to 15. And so now the charging Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 15 wounds, will place all its attacks on the Fetid Bloat Drone, who's down to 1 wound. 7 attacks base on the charge with the Axe of Khorne, hitting on 2s. Getting all 7 hits, but no 6s. Strength 11 on the charge versus toughness 7 means wounding on 3s. Getting 6 wounds. Minus 4 AP, so 6 5-up and vulnerable saves. Passing 1, failing 5, and they are d6 damage apiece. So 5 d6 damage. That is 21 damage. So 21 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls. Passing 7, failing 14. And does the Fetid Bloat Drone explode on a 4-up? And it will. So thanks to Putrid Explosion, all models within 7 inches suffer 1 mortal wound. And I apologize, all units within 7 inches suffer 1 mortal wound, not all models. Although all of the units within 7 inches of the Fetid Bloat Drone are 1 model units anyways. But this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 1 wound, will lose its last wound and be killed off. This Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will suffer 1 mortal wound and fall from 15 wounds down to 14. And finally, this Plagueburst Crawler will suffer 1 mortal wound, but it will get to take a disgustingly resilient roll. So 1 5-up disgustingly resilient roll, which fails. So this Plagueburst Crawler will fall from 11 wounds down to 10. And now the Fetid Bloat Drone will lose its last wound and be killed off. And this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will not consolidate. Going into the morale phase, there are no morale checks to take.
At the end of the turn, the Chaos Demons of Khorne are currently controlling 3 objective markers, and therefore they will gain 3 victory points. And so, at the end of Chaos Demons of Khorne turn 2, the score currently sits at 7 victory points for the Chaos Demons of Khorne, and 7 victory points for the Death Guard. Going into Death Guard turn 3, a reminder that the Death Guard have 0 command points available, and the Chaos Demons of Khorne also have 0 command points available.
Going into the movement phase, this Plagueburst Crawler that is down to 10 wounds will remain still. The Warlord, Demon Prince, and Nurgle will move up to 8 inches. The fully healthy Plagueburst Crawler will remain still. This squad of 10 Poxwalkers controlling this objective marker will remain still. The Lord of Contagion will move up to 4 inches. The Fetid Bloat Drone that is down to 1 wound will move up to 6 inches. The Malignant Plaguecaster will move up to 5 inches. The squad of 7 Plague Marines will move up to 5 inches. This squad of 10 Poxwalkers will move up to 4 inches and will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll, rolling 2 additional inches. So this squad of 10 Poxwalkers will move up to 6 inches total. Finally, this Chaos Land Raider will move up to 10 inches. Going into the Psychic phase, the Malignant Plaguecaster will attempt to manifest both Putrescent Vitality and Blades of Putrefaction onto the Lord of Contagion. Beginning with Putrescent Vitality, which has a warp charge value of 6, and it will pass with a 9. And the Warlord, Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, will attempt his 1 Deny the Witch thanks to the Armor of Scorn, and it will pass with a 10, so it will be negated. So now for Blades of Putrefaction, which has a warp charge value of 5, and it will go off with a 10. And thanks to success successfully manifesting that psychic power with a psychic test of 7 or more, because of pestilential fallout, the nearest enemy unit, which is the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, will suffer a mortal wound. So the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage will fall from 15 wounds down to 14. Finally, the Warlord Demon Prince of Nurgle will attempt to manifest Smite onto this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who is down to 14 wounds. And Smite has Warp Chart value of 5, and it will pass with a 7. So it will do D3 mortal wounds, and it will cause 2 mortal wounds. So this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will fall from 14 wounds down to 12. Going into the shooting phase, this Plague Burst Crawler will fire its Heavy Slugger into this squad of 10 Bloodletters, and it will fire its Plague Burst Mortar into the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage. Beginning with the Heavy Slugger, 4 shots, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, getting 3 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, getting all 3 wounds, minus 1 AP, so 3 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 1 but failing 2. So 2 Bloodletters will go down, leaving 8 left alive in the squad. Now for D6 shots from the Plague Burst Mortar, getting 3 shots, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, getting 1 hit. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, rerolling, thanks to being a plague weapon, and the Warlord trait Arch Contaminator, getting a wound, minus 2 AP, so 1 4-up invulnerable save thanks to the Armor of Scorn, which passes. This Chaos Land Raider will fire its twin Heavy Bolter into this squad of 8 Bloodletters, and it will fire just the bolt gun portion from its Combi Flamer at full range and its 2 twin Last Cannons into the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage. Beginning with the twin Heavy Bolter, 6 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, getting 3 wounds, minus 1 AP, so 3 5-up invulnerable saves, passing 1, failing 2. So 2 more Bloodletters will go down, leaving 6 left alive in the squad. Now for 1 bolt gun shot into the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, hitting on a 3, and it hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on a 5, and it wounds. No AP, so 1 3-up armor save, which passes. Finally, 4 shots from the 2 twin Last Cannons, hitting on 3s, getting all 4 hits. Strength 9 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, getting all 4 wounds, minus 3 AP, so 4 4-up invulnerable saves, passing 3, failing 1, and it is D6 damage. So D6 damage, and it will do 5 damage. So the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage will fall from 14 wounds down to 9. This Plague Burst Crawler, which is down to 10 wounds, will fire its Heavy Slugger into this squad of 6 Bloodletters. It will fire its 2 Plague Spitters into this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, who's down to 12 wounds, and it will fire its Plague Burst Mortar into the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage. Beginning with the Heavy Slugger, 4 shots, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, getting all 4 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, getting 3 wounds, minus 1 AP, so 3 5-up invulnerable saves, failing all 3. So 3 more Bloodletters will go down, leaving 3 left alive in the squad. Now for the 2 Plague Spitters against the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, D6 shots apiece for 2 D6 shots total, getting 11 shots. This weapon automatically hits, so 11 hits. Strength 7 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 4s, rerolling all fails thanks to being a plague weapon, and the Warlord trait Arch Contaminator, getting 6 wounds and 5 rerolls. And here's the rerolls. Getting 3 additional wounds for 9 wounds total, minus 1 AP, so 9 4-up armor saves, passing 8, failing only 1, and it is 1 damage. So this Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster will fall from 12 wounds down to 11. And finally, from the Plague Burst Mortar, we have D6 shots, getting 1 shot, hitting on 4, rerolling 1s, getting a reroll, and here's the reroll, still failing to hit. The Malignant Plague Caster will toss a crack grenade at the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage. 1 shot, hitting on a 3, and he fails to hit. Finally, the squad of 7 Plague Marines will fire 2 bolt guns in rapid fire range and 3 plasma guns in rapid fire range using supercharged shots into the Warlord Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage. Beginning with the 2 bolt guns, 4 shots total, hitting on 3s, getting 3 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 5s, getting 1 wound, no AP, so 1 3-up armor save, which passes. And now for the plasma guns, firing supercharged shots, which will have to be done separately. Beginning with the Plague Champion, 2 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Regular plasma gun number 1, 2 shots, hitting on 3s, getting a hit, and a 1. So the shot that hit will still be resolved, but one of the plasma guns will go down, leaving 6 left alive in the squad. And finally, regular plasma gun number 2, 2 shots, hitting on 3s, getting a hit and a miss, but not a 1. So 4 hits total. Strength 8 versus toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, getting 2 wounds, minus 3 AP, so 2 4-up invulnerable saves, passing 1 and failing 1, and it is 2 damage. So the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Sensate Rage will fall from 9 wounds down to 7. Going into the assault phase, there are 2 charges to declare. First will be the Lord of Contagion declaring a charge solely into the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Sensate Rage, and the second charge will be the Fetid Bloat Drone down to 1 wound, who will charge solely into the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Sensate Rage. And the Death Guard will begin with the Lord of Contagion. No Overwatch, so here's the charge range, rolling 9 inches. And a 9-inch charge is more than enough to make it in. And actually, the Death Guard will not have the Fetid Bloat Drone charge in, because it is within 3 inches of the objective marker, which means that as long as the Lord of Contagion survives, even if the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Sensate Rage is not killed off, the Death Guard will be in control of that objective marker, and therefore they do not want to give the Chaos Demons of Khorne an opportunity to kill the Fetid Bloat Drone and contest the objective marker this turn. So the Lord of Contagion successfully made his charge, and he will be the only charge. Going into the fight phase, the Death Guard only have 1 charging unit, which is the Lord of Contagion, and he will first pile in up to 3 inches. And he is now perfectly in base to base, and will now place his attacks onto the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Sensate Rage. 4 attacks base with the Plague Reaper, hitting on 2s, and that's pretty awful, getting 2 hits. Strength 6 versus toughness 7 means wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s, but thanks to the Malignant Plague Caster successfully manifesting Blades of Putrefaction onto the Lord of Contagion in the previous Psychic phase, the Lord of Contagion gets to add 1 to wound rolls, and therefore wound rolls of 4 will also wound, getting 2 wounds, and thanks to Blades of Putrefaction, the wound roll of a 6 becomes a 7, and any wound rolls of 7 up made for this unit in the fight phase with a melee plague weapon inflict a mortal wound on the target in addition to any other damage. So 1 mortal wound will be inflicted. So the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Sensate Rage will fall from 7 wounds down to 6, minus 3 AP, so 2 4-up invulnerable saves, passing 1 and failing 1, and they are 3 damage. So the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Sensate Rage will fall from 6 wounds down to 3. And now the Chaos Demons of Khorne will have an opportunity to strike back, so the Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Sensate Rage will place all of its attacks onto the Lord of Contagion. The Warlord, Bloodthirster, and Sensate Rage will use the Mighty Strike profile from the Great Axe of Khorne, and therefore he will have 3 attacks base thanks to being charged, and also thanks to being down to 3 wounds. So 3 attacks hitting on 4s, also thanks to being down to 3 wounds, and no rerolls, getting 1 hit. Strength 16 thanks to being charged versus toughness 5 means wounding on a 2, and it wounds. Minus 4 AP, so 1 4-up invulnerable save, which fails. And it will do d6 damage, and I do apologize, should roll 2d6, take away the lowest, not that it actually matters, and it will do 6 damage. So 6 5-up, disgustingly resilient rolls, passing 3 and failing 3. So the Lord of Contagion will fall from 6 starting wounds down to 3. Going into the morale phase, this squad of Plague Marines lost 1 model this turn, however the Plague Champion has a leadership of 8, and therefore it is impossible for him to fail. This squad of Bloodletters lost 7 models this turn, and they have a leadership of 7, so they will automatically fail, and the morale check roll will determine how many more models are lost. And here's the morale check roll, and they roll a 1, so only 1 additional Bloodletter is killed off, leaving 2 left alive in the squad. At the end of the turn, the Death Guard are currently controlling 4 objective markers, and therefore will gain 4 victory points. And so at the end of Death Guard turn 3, the score currently sits at 11 victory points for the Death Guard and 7 victory points for the Chaos Demons of Khorne. Going into Chaos Demons of Khorne turn 3, a reminder that the Chaos Demons of Khorne have 0 command points available, and the Death Guard also have 0 command points available. And at this point, the Chaos Demons of Khorne are going to concede the game. Neither side will achieve Linebreaker, and neither side will achieve Slay the Warlord. However, because this is the mission, Dominate and Destroy, we need to add up kill points. Now that the game is over, the Chaos Demons of Khorne killed off 3 full Death Guard units, which means that the Chaos Demons of Khorne Khorne will have a final score of 10 victory points, and the Death Guard killed off 6 full Chaos Demon of Khorne units, which means that the Death Guard will have a final score of 17 victory points. And so we will have a major victory for the Death Guard thanks to a concession from the Chaos Demons of Khorne at the beginning of Chaos Demons of Khorne turn 3.